Hey sis, sometimes two people can go through the same emotional pain, hmm but they can respond completely different. Yep. Like one person may want to talk about it immediately, while the other person just want to shut down. They don't want no conversation. They don't want to talk about nothing. And they may even withdraw because they don't want to talk about it. And so, or they also may like struggle to express what they're feeling at all. And that could become like confusing in relationships, though. Okay? So let's talk about it. Let's go a little bit deeper. My name's Melinda. I'm a registered nurse, life coach, and mentor. And on our channel, we focus on faith, healing, and emotional wellness. If any part of this message touches you or you resonate with it, please give me a thumbs up, like, and if you're feeling it, please subscribe. I'd love to have you on the YouTube family. I'm trying to grow the family. I'm a new channel, okay? And I'm trying to reach as many people as I can to help us all heal and what on our walk and on our journey in life. Okay, sorry for the commercial break. All right, so let's get into it. Let's talk about though why things can be confusing. Some people talk, some people just shut down and all that. Let's talk about why this happens. Okay, because this has kind of layers to it. Okay, and so what happens is that like psychology shows that like early experiences in our lives, basically what it does is it kind of shapes how we process our emotions. Okay, so what happens is then is that, but even though it shapes our emotions and stuff like that, so does how we're taught to express them. So as we're when we're kids and stuff like that and growing, our environment and things like that shape us. So, how we talk to people, how we express ourselves, our emotions, and that is where both nature and nurture come in. Okay. I'm a nurse, so yeah, I know I'm going to break these things down for us so we can understand. Okay. So let's talk about it. Nature basically includes things like your temperament, meaning like, are you calm? Are you relaxed? Do you just pop off? Are you a hothead? Are you argumentative? Like, that's what nature includes, like the nature. Nurture includes your environment. So think about it. Nature is like your temperament. Are you calm? Are you easily provoked? Are you just chilled? Nurture includes the environment that you were raised in. So in other words, it's like nurture is like your household. Because if you're a kid, your environment is your household. You go to school, but the majority of your time is at home with your family, right? So nurture includes your environment. Now, with your environment, that also includes what was molded into you as a child, okay? And what was allowed or encouraged, okay? And so both of those together, nature and nurture, shape how your emotions show up later in life, okay? So now, generally speaking, some people may have been encouraged to express their emotions openly, okay? While others may have been taught to suppress or minimize how they feel. Like, for example, I have a son. He grew up, anything he want to talk about, he can come sit on the bed and, hey, come talk to me and talk about it. He was raised in an environment because I want him to be able to express how he feel. Now, he's an introvert, so he's not just gonna run out and talk to everybody. But if it's anything that he wants to talk about, like important or things like that, he will come and talk. But I open the door, hey, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about, okay? As long as you're not disrespectful, okay? So your environment and things like that, that shapes, how you communicate and things like that. So like, while other people could have been taught that to suppress or minimize how they feel. You know how, okay, boys don't cry, boys, don't say nothing. You're a man, you just hold on to it, don't say nothing. Sometimes, people are taught that they just don't say nothing. They just minimize what they feel. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Because maybe they were taught that made them look weak or something like that, or whatever the case may be. I don't know. I can't say that is what it is. I'm just giving examples, okay? So what you may see is this. You may see that like some people express emotions outwardly, okay? They talk about them or they seek connection, okay? While others, they may minimize their emotions. Again, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm good. Uh, you know, or you're not a therapist or whatever. I don't want to talk about nothing. I'm good. Where other people may want to express their emotions, like get it all out because they don't want to internalize it, because some people feel like, it's heavy internally when you just suppress all your emotions. Okay. So some people express them, some people keep them in. Okay. So the people that sometimes keep them in and it's not expressive, what happens is they just shut down because they're not talking. They're not talking about their emotions. They just shut it down or just withdraw altogether. And so sometimes those internalized emotions can come out as frustration. So, or anger. And that's where you get people that just snap off because they never learn to process emotions. Like, let's say you're in a heated discussion or you in a debate or something like that. Instead of being able to process and talk about it, they just go off. So, because internally they were never taught to be able to process and express their emotions, or maybe some people are told to suppress it. Be strong, go on out there, you got this, be strong, the world is cruel. Oh well, some people, they haven't been able to actually express their emotions, and so that's why sometimes you'll see frustration and anger. Why? Because they don't know how to express it, because they've never been taught or been in the environment to express it. And so this video is more so about like awareness, and I love doing videos that help us understand like different like people. And like you might say, oh, that explains it. It's not to belittle anybody or ever put anybody down. I just love bringing attention to things that, especially culturally, we may not have known, because a lot of, in our culture, a lot of people don't go to therapists and things like that. I'm not a therapist, but I am a registered nurse and I love researching. So I'm looking at the psychological aspect of different things and researching it and studying it and bringing it so that we can have awareness, for anybody that watches our channel or anybody that joins the family, because I think this stuff is important, because sometimes people cannot express themselves, and that's where that anger and rage comes sometimes, because they, like when my son was little, I used to say, use your words. Well, if people didn't grow up using their words, they just suppressed everything on how they feel. They didn't have a platform, or not a platform like this, but like a safe place to be safe and talk about those things. That's why they just internalize it and explode instead of being able to articulate, like, I'm hurt, or that was offensive, or, you really hurt me when you did that. They're instead of saying that, then that you getting cussed out and all that. Or some people get physical because they cannot express themselves. Okay. So it's not, that's why I don't want it to come across as mean or anything like that. I more so wanted to come across as like awareness and education about why certain things happen the way they do sometimes. So, and it's also, I want you to understand about like how we're shaped and how people are shaped, and it always starts from childhood. Okay, because the root of things is often, it goes right back to the same thing. What? A need for safety. Everybody needs safety, emotionally, psychologically, physically. The root of it is safety and consistency. And also, in addition to that, we need emotional support. We need to be able to be supported emotionally. But the way it shows up, like I said, it can look very differently. Yeah, because, and this is extremely important in relationships. And because sometimes people misunderstand each other based on how they express emotions. So, like, for example, one person may be trying to talk it through. Like, that's me. I love talking stuff through. I like to get to the bottom of things. But then you could have another person that they need their space. They don't want to talk about it. They just want to go sit down, don't want to talk about it. And then if you're a talker and they're not a talker and you're talking about it now and then if they haven't learned to process their emotions, what happens? They explode because that's your, you are have that space to express yourself. They are not expressive. So one person may feel everything deeply while the other person is still trying to even understand what they're feeling. So one person may, they are in tune with their feelings and they can feel everything deeply because you've processed things and things like that, where another person, if that's not them and that's not their upbringing and they didn't grow up in a space where they could feel emotions and be expressive, then they may go the other route and need their space. And so, like I said, one person could feel everything deeply while the other person is still trying to understand what the heck they even feel. They don't even know what they feel because they haven't felt emotions like that and dealt and like sat with them. And so what happens is, if you don't understand this, or without understanding this, what happens? It creates tension or confusion, because once you begin to see it, now things are more clear. Yeah, once you understand the processes and the nature versus nurture, and like, okay, what's their temperament? What's your temperament? And did you grow up, discussing things, or do you feel stuff, and are you emotional, and are you expressive? Is this person not expressive? Or are they one that need to be quiet and internalize? So that's important to know, because then you can understand how to relate to people in your relationship. So once you know that, then it gives you clarity, not just for other people, but just for yourself too. Not just for others, but in addition to them, for yourself. Because then now it's like you have, oh, I'm understanding this. And the other thing is that now just by learning this, listening to this video. So now, when we know better, we do better. You take the information and you can process, like with your partner or your significant other or people that you deal with in general, family members, put the pieces where they fit. Now this will help you have an understanding, because if you think about your own household and like how you guys grew up and things like that, you'll know off the top of your head, oh, we are expressive, or we had a safe place that we could talk about things. We in our house, it was, not that it wasn't safe not to, but we had the platform, or we were told to express ourselves, and we talked about things versus, we didn't talk about nothing. Everything was like, we're good, move on to the next one. That kind of plays into like your relationships, and now you have awareness, and it helps you to respond with more understanding too, instead of frustration and confusion. And so healing is not about like comparing, it's about growing. Okay, so this is what we do on this channel, we grow. So that's why I love bringing these topics and stuff. And so these patterns, though, let's say your partner or you were not expressive and able to talk, that doesn't mean it's permanent. It's not a permanent outcome. Just because you didn't have it now, that doesn't mean that you can't gain it or get that knowledge to do it. Okay, and so what wasn't understood before, it could be understood now, as far as like communicating and how to communicate with each other and stuff like that. And so we'll keep working through this together. I'll be doing several videos on different things with like childhood stuff and how it kind of reflects like in adulthood and just different things that impact us as adults from childhood, so we can kind of walk through these things. So I hope this message helped you. If it did, do me a favor, give me a thumbs up. If this touched your heart and this was like your job, your genre, not genre, but if you felt good about the message, you know what I'm trying to say. If this message touched you in any kind of way, that's really what I'm trying to say. Please like and subscribe. I'd love to have you in the YouTube family. We're trying to grow. It's a newer channel. I love helping us to grow. So I will constantly keep bringing different topics to help us. Again, this channel is based the main focus is faith, healing, and emotional wellness. And it basically helps us just to be a better person in general. Not that any of us are bad people, but just to help us, learn some things so we could just live peaceful lives. Okay. And so, as always, I'm wishing you peace, love, joy, and happiness. And I really hope this message touched you. All right. Bye. Love you guys.